Hi guys, before this video start, I wanted to thank you for your recent support you showed on my anime merch store as well as my Ko-fi. If you are new here, I would like to let you know that I sell some of the best high quality anime merch around, and on my Ko-fi page you can find all the content that I can't post here either for copyright reasons, including the One Piece recap as well as other shows. So if you enjoy my work and wish to give me a push to make more, check out the two websites. Both links will be in the description, and without any further ado, let's jump into the video. Our story starts with the main character, Aoi Sakurai, narrating that everyone has their own past, one that they try to hide, just as we see him getting pinned down by a woman who remarks that she killed all the bad people for him because, in her own words, he belongs only to her. Sometime later, following the advice of an investigator who claimed that Aoi has a stalker and should probably change environment, the young boy is seen sitting alone in class while his classmates remark that he didn't say anything for a week, and he is acting like a dead man, which they find creepy. But Sakurai narrates that they don't know anything about him, and even if he said it, they won't believe him. The students chat amongst themselves about how some new girl moved here, but she has some sort of an injury on her arm, to which, when Aoi hears it, he panics and remembers how some time before in an ally, he was on the ground with some sort of a dead, disfigured human next to him. As the same girl from before, whose name is Miyako, approach him and letting him know that the police won't help, since the people after him are not humans, but he has nothing to worry about since she will kill them all for Sakurai's sake. Back in the present, Aoi jumps from his seat, shouting as he feels someone hand on his shoulders, but it turns out to be his new classmate Ueda, who blushes after his reaction. And we see Sakurai apologizing sometime later, which she tells him to not care about it since they are friends. And when Sakurai asks her not to associate with him, she comments that she can't help but be concerned about him, and mentioned that the stalker he talked to her previously about is said to be a beautiful woman going around asking about someone, which can only be Sakurai. As the young boys start to panic, Ueda grabs onto him, stating that she would do something about it for him and that they are friends. Meanwhile, we see the same girl Miyako tracking down Sakurai. Ueda takes the boy to an abandoned school building that no one has seemed to be using anymore, and that she loves quiet places like these, and that what she had planned is only further ahead. However, Sakurai interjects that they should go back since he doesn't want to put her in danger, and that Miyako is, but before he finishes his sentence, Ueda states that she already knows about her, which is exactly why she brought him her, just as she turned to him with a weird smiling look on her face. She explains that Miyako would just get in her way, and that she has been watching over him longer than Ueda has for many years. And she removes her top shirt with a dangerous expression, asking Sakurai that they need to become one. And when the boy tries to run for his life, she grabs onto him, revealing her true monster form, causing the latter to freeze in fear, as he realized that if this is not a dream, then he will surely die by the hands of this woman. Just as his life is about to end, he hears a woman calling that she found them, and it turns out to be none other than his stalker Miyako, who grabs onto Ueda's antennae and breaks them right off. Ueda back away in pain, but Miyako follows after her, calling her an insect, and that she will make her suffer for hurting Aoi, all while tearing up for some reason. She then glares at Aoi, and he tries to run away from her, but once again Miyako don't let him off easily, since according to her, they haven't met in so long, and she is here because Aoi is hers, and will take care of him and will protect him from the monsters. When Sakurai wonders what is she talking about, she turns behind explaining that Ueda watched him for so long, and that she is his stalkers as well. But whether these so-called yokai or specters showed themselves or not matter little to her, since she will kill anyone that's an obstacle to her love. Miyako then grabs onto Ueda's antennae, who's been trying to get to him, and asks Aoi if he would rather have her or Ueda survive this fight. And the boy realizes that he has been threatened by the lunatic girl, and unless he wants to die, he will have to choose her, which he does, as he begs her to save him with tears in his eyes. Miyako, upon hearing this, goes on to kiss him and ask for him not to make such tempting expression, and also apologies for teasing him. This is all happening, of course, while she is effortlessly grabbing onto Ueda, who'd been trying to set herself free, shouting at what Miyako is. The latter start transforming and asking if Aoi knows what an escorting wolf is, just as she shows her true monster form as well and charge at Ueda. We jump back to moments later, where Miyako, with blood covering her, note that it's over and that Aoi is safer with her, just as we see the dead corpse of Ueda, whose head been crushed and body scattered across the room. As Aoi is deep in his thoughts about the situation he's in and if he took the right choice, Miyako once again gets closer to him and state that she will do anything and goes on to hug him. Sakurai, meanwhile, wonders if he has to put up with this crazy girl from now on and ask her to step away, but she states that if she did, he will be in danger again. Aoi looks ahead and to his horror, he sees dozen more monsters all looking in from outside the window with menacing looks, while Miyako asks him if he really thought that there was only one of them, causing the young boy's anxiety to go through the roof, wondering if this is all just a bad nightmare, while Miyako on the other side grabs onto him, saying that this is like a dream to her. The day after, Sakurai is having another nightmare where he is covered in blood, all while trying to push away Miyako off from eating him and forcing himself to wake up. And upon doing so, he is greeted by the girl who is on top of him, remarking that if he is tired, he can go back to sleep. Or he thinks that he is dreaming again, but when realizing that this is happening, he jumps back from his bed and wonders why is she in his house. The latter noting that she told him that she'll be staying by his side and that she took away his clothes as well. Almost turning herself on as she goes around his house, since Aoi Mom is apparently not around. Once again, the boy tries to leave, reaching for the door, but Miyako shouts at him that he should not do that, or else he will be taken away, just as he realized that a monster's hand is reaching for him as well, and he jumps back screaming in terror. Miyako calmly goes through the small opening of the door and breaks off the hand, threatening that she will kill the monster if it bothered them again, causing it to flee, and she turns back to Aoi with a cute expression, inviting him to breakfast. During that, Aoi noticed that Miyako isn't eating and wondered that if it's because of her nature as an escort, to which she doesn't know herself. Sakurai then begin to question her, and why the monsters want to eat him, and Miyako answers that they are urban legend and that they are remnant of what they once were. She also thought that Aoi would know something about their origin, causing him to stand back up and leave, saying that he doesn't know anything. But Miyako feels off about his answer and goes after him, asking if he's hiding something. Just then, Aoi gets a flashback of him getting beaten up by an old man for refusing to change and for being a thief. This causes him to turn to Miyako enraged and knocks her down the ground, threatening her to stop prying into him, and that he will kill her if she keeps asking too many questions. But she responds that if her death will make him feel better, then she will gladly accept it as long as he can remember her for the rest of his life. Aoi stares at her for a moment before she reaches back to him and gets him closer, remarking that even if he has an unspeakable past, she would never reject or hate him. But Aoi just need to let her be with him. Sometime that day, as Aoi get to school, he orders Miyako not to follow him and not to test him anymore, and that she shouldn't get the wrong idea since she is just a stalker to him. But surprisingly, the girl accepts and responds that if something were to happen, she will definitely come just as they part ways. As they part ways, Miyako turn back and start drooling in an aroused-like state over how Sakurai looked tempting even when angry and that she wants to eat him up. But just then, she is brought back to reality when she smells one of the monsters inside the school. While on the other side, a horned girl figure is looking out the window, noting that once again, August 9th approaches. As Miyako starts to get irritated about the whereabouts of the monster, the student talk about Ueda and that she transferred schools and her whole family moved. They contemplate talking about her situation with Aoi since he last saw her, but nobody actually want to talk to him since he is creepy. All while he is listening to them, noting that they talk too much despite knowing nothing of what's going on in his life, and that if Miyako heard them talking about him like this, she would surely react in a horrific way. Just then, Aoi hears a fuzz as students all begin to look ahead, since there seemed to be someone at the school gate, and upon he sees who is it, he rushes out to meet Miyako, who stands there waiting for him, surrounded by the students, all who recognize her for being Aoi's stalker, and that there was rumors going on that Ueda transferred because of Miyako since she was following Aoi around. As Miyako stand at the gate silently, Aoi realized that if he confirms the rumors, his classmates might view him better since he too is a victim and he only has to reveal that he was scared for his life. But before he let the words out, Miyako interjects that she did it. She got rid of Ueda's much to Aoi's surprise. The students begin to gather even more and start speculating about Miyako and what she did to the poor Ueda, before they decide to take their frustration on her and start trashing her out, causing Sakurai to overthink about why she revealed herself like this. But she, on the other hand, doesn't seem to be bothered and state that she would throw away everything she has to be with the person she loves, looking directly into Aoi's eyes. Her statement pisses off the students even more as one of them reach for a rock and hurl it at her. And Sakurai, without thinking much about it, jump and takes on the rock head-on, breaking his nose and freaking out Miyako. When a student asks Aoi why he intervened, the latter shouts back at them since they would never understand and calls them dumbasses, causing one of them to charge at him until Miyako grabs onto him and the two disappear instantly. Moments later, she tries to check on Aoi injury, but he asks her what is she doing here, to which she revealed that the monster she was going after is here and that it blended as a female student, but she already memorized her face and will deal with her. Aoi realized that he can't go to school anymore, but this doesn't matter much to Miyako as they can be together more, and she remarks how cool he was back then when he stood up for her while he wonders why he throw everything aside for her since even his mum did not protect him like he protected Miyako. Just as the latter start lusting over him, both being watched by an unknown person. Days later, Miyako is trying to enter Aoi's room but finds out that he locked the window, and he, although annoyed, explained that he will be having a house visit since he hasn't been going to school lately and didn't tell his mum. His teacher will be coming to check up on him, so Miyako would only make things worse and should stay outside for a little bit. Miyako explained that if his teacher turns out to be a monster, then he would be in trouble. But Aoi managed to trick Miyako into coming for his help if he called for her, to which she accepts and asks him to call only for her, even if nothing happens. Once again, his expression arouses Miyako, who licks his window, affirming that soon or later he will ask for her and make her way in by force, while wondering how will he call her and get closer to him, when suddenly a woman burst into his home and shouts for Miyako to let go of him. It turns out that this woman is the teacher, and she thought that Miyako was hurting Aoi. But after the three sit down, the women apologize for being agitated and introduce herself as Ushimi, Sakurai's homeroom teacher, and that she didn't know that Miyako is Aoi relative, something he came up with on the spot. Miyako, on the other hand, isn't responsive and only stares at Ushimi, which means that she isn't a monster much to Aoi relief. And since she is here, this means that she will be Aoi guardian. The young boy is nervous since he doesn't know how to talk with non-threatening people, and Ushimi reveals that she brought him a gift, some cookies that she baked herself for the first time, and blushes, remarking that she wants to get along with Sakurai. Hearing this, Aoi concede to her request since he feels safe around her, but as he reaches for the cookie, Miyako tilts to his way with angry tears on her face since he never looked this content with her, and this awkward interaction caused Aoi to leave the cookies for later. Ushimi then asks Aoi to get back to school, since, according to her, everyone is waiting for him, and that she explained his circumstances to them and would want Aoi to explain his situation with Miyako since those students are good kids, but this only angers Aoi as he calls bullshit on that. He goes on about how those guys spread rumors and throw trash at someone they didn't know, and they wouldn't just accept everything simply because their teacher told them to. Ushimi, upon hearing this, asks Sakurai to listen to her as her eyes and face expression change, and she get on top of the table to get closer to him, stating that she would never lie to him and he will have to change, her voice echoing onto Sakurai's head, almost like forcing him to listen to her. This terrifies Aoi, who can only sit still while his teacher leers into his eyes, stating that he belongs to her, and in a moment of fear, he faintly calls upon Miyako's name, who with a big smirk intervene and get on top of him, both her and Ushimi glaring at each other. causing Ushimi to back off and apologize for losing herself and decide to leave it at that for today. Later that night, Aoi wakes up from his sleep and looks around for Miyako, wondering if he can trust her, while she, on the other hand, stands next to the dead body of the student she believed to be a monster whose stomach was destroyed, and turned to a figure next to her, asking why she didn't have the same scent of the other monsters, and wonder what is she. Just as the figure is revealed to be Ushimi, dripping in blood, with a wide grin. Miyako asks Ushimi if she was the one controlling the students, the other refusing to give a straight answer since there were many monsters at the school. Something that Miyako doesn't believe, and Ushimi goes on about how Miyako is clueless, and how anomalies cannot be seen from just one side. And there are being from similar phenomena which can be detected by lacking self-control. Something that Ushimi managed to use on purpose, which Miyako doesn't seem to possess such skill. Although Miyako exclaimed that she doesn't care and will just have to kill everyone like usual, Ushimi let it be known that she doesn't like her simplistic way of thinking and is not fitted to be with Aoi. She, on the other hand, is, as she can teach him the right way. She starts lusting over how she will turn Sakurai into something else, thrilled by how he might turn out, and how he will not be able to live without her, causing her to lose herself. Just as Miyako also starts to lose herself, declaring her love is the only thing Aoi needs. With the two ready for battle, Ushimi reveals her true nature as horn come out her body, stating that her existence was always feared by Dowry and that she will deliver an omen of death, since she is the one and only Ushiona. Miyako doesn't waste time to transform again, showing her true teeth, and charge at Ushimi only to be tackled by the previous dead student monster whom she thought was dead and is immediately impaled to the wall. Ushimi says that Miyako would never defeat her in this form, and that she tricked the monster into helping her trap Miyako so she could live, but she lied, and this is how a smart beast can survive. Miyako, upon hearing this, and start laughing, calling Ushimi boring for trying to teach her how to fight. And just thinking about Ushimi trying to stop her makes her lose control, just as she transforms into her true beast form and start the battle again. Shortly after, a battered, bloody Ushimi lays with her back against the wall faced with Miyako and promised that she will kill her next. When Miyako responds that there will be no next time, Ushimi remarks that they will be reborn and that she will give her an omen, one that states that the city is getting poisoned again, and this disaster will not be recorded in history, and that this is all the fault of the old Miyako, just as the latter goes on to attack her. Aoi gets a dream about an old woman who remarks that it is a shame that the young boy is leaving so soon since she was close, and that she will be very lonely by herself, which is why she will find him. And before he could hear what she had to say, Aoi wakes up in tears and looks aside to see Miyako also sleeping next to him with her clothes torn up, meaning she got into a fight. Seeing her like that causes Aoi to blush and goes to the kitchen where his mum, who always seems busy, left him money for lunch. And since it's daytime with a lot of people outside, he decides to go out and leave Miyako in his bed. While out, Aoi looks around and is relieved to see that everyone around is human, until he catches sight of some students in the market store, causing his anxiety to rise, and remarks that he shouldn't have left the house, although it's not his fault, and that he just has to go to another store, when suddenly, giant disfigured monster heads reveal themselves from the alley, asking him to look at them. Aoi tries to run away, but is too slow, and them asking him to constantly look at them forces him to fall back. Realizing that he will die at this rate, he tries to call for Miyako until a woman voice tells him that everything will be okay, and places her big hat over him, stating that it won't take long. She will just quietly take out the trash. Soon after, Aoi looks around to see the monsters all dead, and the woman reminisces that it's been so long since she saw his pretty face. He recognized this woman as Yae, who came for him and lifts him up in the air and play with him, before tears stat going down her face and says that all those years where she could not see Sakurai felt like an eternity in hell, and she goings on to hold tight to him since she missed him very much. While on the other side, a startled Miyako wakes up. Another flashback shows Aoi playing with Lady Yae, who asks him if there is someone he likes since he is at that age where he is more susceptible to romance, but he responds that he doesn't and that he hates everyone. He then goes on to ask her if she likes someone, but she just laughs it off, and that he will understand soon enough. Back in the present, Yae takes back her hat and reminisces about her past time with Aoi, and that she couldn't stay away because she was afraid if Aoi would forget about her, and she lunges back at him, grabbing him tightly since she will not hold back any longer. When he calls for her, she takes him so where they will be just the two of them to celebrate their reunion where stray dogs wouldn't eat him. Just as Miyako show up to their spot in a panic, realizing that they are gone, and that the smell in that alley resembles the smell of a creature she smelled during that day at school where she fought Ueda, the thought that causes her to start losing control. On another side of the city, Aoi sits on a chair in a deserted factory while looking aside to see a smiling Yae who just killed a monster, noting that she is having the time of her life. She explains that as soon as the monsters saw that Miyako, aka Okuri Okami, was gone, they all came for Aoi, which was stupid on their part. Aoi, meanwhile, looks cold as he asks if Yae was always a monster. He isn't disappointed, but thankful, since this explained why he always felt safer with her, meaning she always protected him back then. Yae is also happy that she doesn't have to explain herself, but for now, nothing matters since they are engaged, and that she always loved him, and that this is like a disease to her, a sickness that won't go away, even if she devoured him. Yae then starts grabbing onto Aoi and licking his hands while her white hair turned black, asking him if he known the ending of an old tale about a goddess who goes on to the afterlife to find the boy she loves, just as she fully transforms herself into her true form, promising that she won't let him run anymore. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, drop a like and hit the subscribe button. Also, check out my anime merch store and unlock some of the other recap shows by going to my Ko-Fi page. Link will be in the description.